being the child of a rock legend and a bombshell icon isn't exactly the kind of normal upbringing most of us had. While many of us were worried about pop quizzes or sneaking snacks past our parents, Brandon Thomas Lee's childhood battles included paparazzi hiding in bushes and his parents' names plastered across every tabloid cover. As the son of Pamela Anderson and Mötley Crüe drummer Tommy Lee, Brandon grew up not only in the limelight, but also in its long, dark shadow. And though he's carving his own Hollywood path as an actor and producer, the road has been anything but smooth. Fame was the family business. Brandon was born in 1996, just a year after his parents' infamous private tape was stolen, a scandal that haunted them for decades. For him, fame wasn't an ambition, it was part of the household furniture. Cameras flashed at every corner, reporters lurked outside gates, and family outings were treated like red carpet premieres. At one point, Brandon genuinely thought it was normal for strangers to leap fences just to snap a blurry photo of him in pajamas. It wasn't until a lunch outing with friends that he had his aha moment. Confused, he asked, "Why isn't anyone taking your picture?" His friends had to gently explain that having photographers chase you through parking lots isn't standard childhood behavior. The reluctant entertainer. Ironically, despite growing up in the chaos of celebrity life, Brandon once swore he'd never work in entertainment. He wanted distance, privacy, peace, but fate had other plans. He eventually appeared on MTV's The Hills, New Beginnings, then pivoted into producing. In a rebellious twist, he even ran away from college to pursue acting, a move his famous parents weren't thrilled about. "They wanted me as far from Hollywood as possible," he admitted, "so naturally, I jumped in head first." Battles with his dad. Behind the glossy magazine covers, family life was far from idyllic. In 2018, Tommy Lee dropped a bombshell online, posting that he had spent more than $130,000 on Brandon's rehab. Ouch. Instead of letting the revelation drag him down, Brandon clapped back with a mix of sarcasm and sincerity, reminding the world he was nearly 2 years sober and more grateful than ever for his second chance. But the tension didn't stop there. That same year, Brandon and Tommy got into a physical altercation that made headlines. Tommy accused his son of punching him. Brandon claimed self-defense. The case was eventually dropped, but the damage was done. The world got a front-row seat to a father-son drama that played out online. At one point, Tommy branded his kids spoiled, while Brandon shot back with the mic drop of all mic drops, "You gotta show up to be a dad, big guy." Internet, 1. Tommy Lee, 0. And yet, like any dramatic duo, the story didn't end there. By 2024, the two were spotted hugging at a charity golf event. Brandon later joked that their bond was less father-son and more best friends who occasionally throw punches. As he put it, friends fight hard, then they make up. That's just how it is, championing his mom's legacy. If his relationship with Tommy was complicated, Brandon's bond with Pamela turned into one of his greatest missions. After years of seeing his mother turned into tabloid fodder and reduced to stereotypes, Brandon took matters into his own hands. He co-produced the Netflix documentary Pamela, a love story, which stripped away the caricatures and told her truth. "I wasn't trying to make her look perfect," he explained. "I just wanted people to finally hear her story." The documentary, paired with her 2023 memoir, Love, Pamela, became a cathartic turning point. For Pamela, it was about reclaiming her voice. For Brandon, it was about restoring his mom's dignity. Pamela's story, more than Baywatch. Of course, Pamela Anderson's life wasn't just about red swimsuits and slow-motion beach runs. Her journey was riddled with trauma, heartbreak, and resilience that defied the headlines. From an early age, Pamela endured experiences no child should face. She was abused by a babysitter from ages 6 to 10, assaulted again at 12, and later attacked by a group of men as a teenager. The repeated betrayals left her mistrustful and broken. "I just wanted off this earth," she once admitted. Her life seemed to take a brighter turn in 1989 when she was discovered at a football game. Modeling gigs, a Playboy cover, and eventually global fame on Baywatch followed. But her relationships told another story, a painful one: the Tommy Lee roller coaster. Pamela met Tommy Lee at a New Year's Eve party. 4 days later, they were married on a beach in 1995. Fast, passionate, reckless. It was Hollywood's version of Romeo and Juliet, except with more tattoos and motorcycles. Then came the tape. Stolen during their honeymoon and spread across the globe, the scandal rocked their marriage and humiliated Pamela. Pregnant with their first child at the time, she eventually gave up fighting in court, too exhausted to keep reliving the trauma. Their marriage was a whirlwind of reconciliation and breakdowns. Pamela filed for divorce after their first son, Brandon, but reconciled. After their second son, Dylan, she filed again, this time for good. Tommy's arrest for spousal abuse sealed the split, with Pamela admitting it was the hardest decision of her life. You can love someone deeply, but you can't let your kids see that kind of behavior. Health, finances, and heartache. As if surviving scandal and divorce weren't enough, Pamela was diagnosed with hepatitis C in the late 90s, which she says she contracted from sharing a tattoo needle with Tommy. Doctors warned her she had only 10 to 15 years to live. Terrified, she invested $100,000 into an experimental treatment. Miraculously, it worked. 12 weeks later, she was cured. Then came the IRS. In yet another twist of fate, her Malibu home was seized over nearly $500,000 in unpaid taxes. Pamela brushed it off with grace and a hint of exasperation, saying, "This was out of my control, but it will be resolved soon." Translation: life really does know how to kick someone when they're already down. And yet, she endured love and letdowns. Pamela has walked down the aisle 5 times, 6 if you count her alleged 12-day marriage to producer John Peters. But what she often found wasn't love. It was abuse, heartbreak, or chaos. Her marriages became tabloid material, her heartbreaks punchlines. And yet, despite it all, she insists she still believes in love. "I love weddings," she once quipped. Maybe too much. From bombshell to survivor. Looking at Pamela's life, one thing is clear. She's far more than a pinup or a scandal. She's a survivor. From her painful childhood traumas to the chaos of her marriages, from devastating health scares to financial crises, she has been knocked down more times than most of us could endure. And every time, she's gotten back up. That resilience became her true legacy, even if it took the world decades to notice. Her image as the ultimate blonde bombshell often overshadowed the complexity of her reality. To many, she was just the slow-motion runner on Baywatch or the centerfold in Playboy. But behind that image was a woman battling demons few knew about. Her courage wasn't just in enduring, but in finally reclaiming her own narrative. She refused to let others tell her story, stepping up with her memoir and Netflix documentary to show the world who she really was. And with her son Brandon stepping in to help shape her legacy, Pamela finally began to be seen in a new light. He made it clear that his mission was to restore the dignity stolen from her by tabloids and gossip rags. Together, they've reframed her image, not as a symbol of scandal, but as a woman of strength, honesty, and resilience. The bigger picture. The saga of Brandon Thomas Lee and Pamela Anderson is messy, emotional, and at times absurd, but also deeply human. It's about a son learning to carve his own path while carrying the weight of his parents' fame. It's about a mother reclaiming her voice after decades of being silenced. And yes, it's about fights, scandals, and far too many marriages, but also about resilience, healing, and the hope that love, in some form, can still be found. Pamela's story isn't just one of tragedy, it's one of transformation. Brandon's journey isn't just about escaping his parents' shadow, it's about rewriting his own script. Together, their stories remind us that even when the spotlight is unforgiving, survival can be the most powerful legacy of all. And that's the wild ride of Brandon Thomas Lee and Pamela Anderson. Fame, fights, resilience, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this deep dive into their story, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for more celebrity stories and pop culture breakdowns, and drop a comment below. Do you think Pamela will ever find her true love, or is her greatest love story actually her resilience? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.